Hello everyone and welcome to this week's math session. Today, we're learning how to solve advanced word problems that will involve the application of logic and reasoning. This is a competency every math student must have because there will not always be formulas for every question. So kindly stay tuned and engage in this lesson. Let's begin. Last week, we learned how to solve basic word problems by first learning how to identify keywords and what they meant. Once you've learned the basic keywords for translating word problems from English into mathematical expressions and equations, you'll be presented with various English expressions and be told to perform the translation. Don't view the list of keywords as holy writ handed down from on high. Instead, use these lists as helpful hints, but always use your head. If you are not sure of the proper translation, use numbers. If you are not certain of the construction, apply it to what you might encounter in real life. Above all, make sure that you understand what you're doing and why. If you can clearly explain your work to a fellow student, then you're well on your way to mastery. Now, let's dive into solving. Make sure that you understand what the question is asking of here. If you're not certain of the construction, apply it to what you might encounter in real life. Let's look at this question one sentence after the other. Kaylee earns $5 an hour by delivering newspapers. She delivers newspapers 3 days each week for 4 hours at a time. This means she works 4 hours each day and earns $20 per day because she earns $5 an hour. She works 3 days in a week. How many hours in a week does she work? When you multiply 4 by 3, would have 12 hours. And how much do you think she earns in a week? Would multiply 20 by 3, which is $60. Let's go back to that question. After delivering newspapers for 8 weeks, how much money will Kaylee earn? The question is asking you to find how much she would earn if she works for 8 weeks. Now, we know how much she earns in 1 week, which is $60. Hence, we can find how much she would earn in 8 weeks by multiplying 8 by 60, which gives us $480. You'll notice that it was easy to solve this question because we understood every single sentence in the word problem, and we clearly wrote out our workings. Let's continue. First thing to do here, as usual, is read the question and try to understand it. You can pause the video for a few minutes to get a better understanding, then press play to continue. The cost of petrol rises by 2 cents a litre. This means if you buy petrol this week, when you come back the following week, the price would have increased by 2 cents. Last week, a man bought 20 litres at the old price. Let's pause here with this information. What is the old price? Did they tell us in the story? No, they didn't. We can actually represent this old price with X cents. Let's move on with the question. This week, he bought 10 litres at the new price. Let's also pause here with this information. What is the new price? Did they tell us in the story? No, they didn't. But we know the new price would be 2 cents more than the old price. We can represent this new price as X plus 2 cents. Let's continue. Altogether, we know the petrol costs $9.20. What was the old price for 1 litre? This means when we add the amount we bought 20 litres and 10 litres of petrol at both the old and new price respectively, the amount would be $9.20. We can write an equation for this, which gives us 20 times x plus 10 times x plus 2, which is equal to $9.20. This looks easier to solve now, but first, let's convert $9.2 to cents so all the units are the same. That will give us 920 cents. And when we expand the bracket, our equation becomes 20x plus 10x plus 20 equals 920 cents. You can see how clear our equation is. When we collect like terms and solve, we have 30x equals 900, and x here would become 30 cents for 1 liter. Let's try a few more examples. Again, remember, there is no one formula to solving what problems. You have to employ your logic and reasoning skills. You can pause the video for a few minutes to get a better understanding of the question, then press play to continue. In this question, if you're not certain of the construction, apply it to what you might encounter in real life and make sure you understand what you're doing. Let's solve. Teachers divided students into groups of 3. Let's pause here. How many students were divided? Unknown. So we can represent that with the variable y. Let's proceed. Each group of 3 wrote a report that had 9 pictures in it. Let's pause here. How many students are in each group? Unknown. But we know that each group is a third of the total number of students, which we can represent as y over 3 for a group. Also from the question, we know that each group wrote a minimum of 1 report, and 1 report has 9 pictures. Let's continue. If the students use 585 pictures altogether, how many students were there in all? First of all, how many reports can we get from 585 pictures? We know that by dividing by 9 pictures, because 9 pictures are in 1 report. Hence, 585 pictures would produce 65 reports per group. When we translate that into a mathematical equation, we can say one group, which is y over 3, equals 65 reports. When we isolate y becomes 195. Remember that y stands for the total number of students. This means that there are 195 students in total. Why don't you go ahead to try these few questions on your own? To master how to solve different variations of mathematical word problems, you have to practice and practice. Even though the lesson ends here, it doesn't stop your learning, which is why you should proceed now to the Google Classroom to impute the answers to these questions and get a feedback. Make sure you like and subscribe to the Obaoso ASAP channel and stay tuned for more videos on this YouTube platform. Thanks for watching.